Buttons are pushed.
Periodically, I check to see if the button is blinking.
Willie is on top of pushing the buttons. Daze Unscripted, yes, sir. AT, Locc here. Willie B is here. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Daze Unscripted podcast, live and direct from the Daze headquarters, undisclosed location. Let's get straight into our new segment. If you haven't noticed, album of the week. We always encourage feedback on the show, of course. So if you have something to add to our album this week, definitely touch in.
Or if you got ideas and you want us to add another type of segment even, we always open for suggestions, man, you know?
Yes, sir.
So,
but for this week, our album of the week, Mozzie.
Occupational Hazard. It's a hit. Sir. It's a hit. Yeah, that man went off. That man is definitely one of the, it seems like a new generation of lyricists in hip hop,
especially out of the West Coast.
Yes, he has a vibe that reminds me of Midwest, New York, DMV type of thing. You see him with the Wale feature on there, and of course with the Blast. Shout out to Blast as well. Got Blast on there a couple times.
Those are my standouts.
Yeah, the Wale Blast track, and then the Streets Ain't Safe track. Yeah.
But it's also very, I gotta say, like, I was bumping the album. I didn't really peep the track list too heavy.
Also, Death is Calling is another track.
That's one of yours?
Yes, you can continue.
Okay. And Wale came on. And it was just so refreshing here, Wale unexpectedly like that.
Bro,
and I was like, man.
I didn't even know he was on the track either, until he came on.
So it was one of those. I think the Trey the Truth feature, I like that song as well.
Same.
I can't remember the song off the top of my
head. He has some solid features towards the end of the album. He really started juicing. He had YF and Lucci on it too, which I did not expect. I didn't expect it. He has the features all over the place. Quando Rondo on it, you know what I mean? It's just
who sounds like Jack Boy almost on that.
Low key. And then you look at Trey the Truth, and then he also got Stacey Barth on there. So it's like he has a few nice features, some, like you said, some refreshing features with the Wale track. I like that track a lot. And Wale sounds good. You know, it's good to see Wale, you know, back in his bag. You know what I mean? So after so long. And of course, like the Death is Calling track, I'm just going to point that out real quick. It's just like, dude, his imagery and his wordplay and stuff, he definitely highlights that throughout here. I was not a fan of Mozzie before this, not because of me listening to his music and not liking it. I just wasn't really keen to who he was and what he was doing.
It wasn't on a constant rotation for you.
Yeah, I wasn't really, I didn't know of him that much. But this album was a great way to introduce me to what he is, who he is, what he believes in, and how he looks at the streets, you know?
I didn't listen to the album.
That's
I
right.
Failed the assignment.
I forgot about
we failed the assignment.
I failed.
Just for all the listeners out there and anybody watching, we were taking bets essentially on who would be the first to not listen. Obviously,
I was not aware of this bet.
We're all caught up in the days. And sometimes it's difficult to listen to music on timely fashion. But Willie B was the first one to go this week, so he will go.
Say I lost.
Yes. Willie B.
He turned the cup to show that I lost.
This is like when you don't turn in your homework and they put on the dunce hat.
How you lose a bet you didn't know about?
Because you didn't
lost,
do your,
bro.
You didn't look into it, man. It's on you. Anyways, you definitely missed out because the album was a hit.
I'm still gonna listen to it.
How many
He's
tracks
check
is
it out.
It's not even that long.
I know because y'all
14
said
tracks,
the
40 minutes.
album I picked was too long, so I'm gonna pick shorter.
You
stuff.
picked like an hour and a half.
It was 44
was
minutes.
a good pick.
Okay, yeah, Duckworth was a good album. It was a good album. It was solid, very refreshing as well. But yeah,
yes.
I was gonna ask you about your tracks, and I keep starting to ask you about the album. And you ain't got no answers.
I ain't got no answers.
Have you ever heard Mozzie before, Willie?
I have to say yes because I know I've looked at a track that I was listening to and was like, this sounds great, and I saw that name.
Okay.
But
he's got a few features as well where he does his thing. I can't
agree.
Speak off the top. I want to say maybe one with like Guap Dad.
Yes, he has a track with Guap Dad. I think that's what song is that? I don't know what song that is, but it is a good song. You know, I think it might be
something with scam,
fraudulent something, scam something. Like I'm about to go.
I think the young Guap Dad is trying to turn his life over to the Lord and stop scamming. I really believe.
Is that what you recommend, Willie?
What, for Guap Dad to turn his life over?
Is
to
that
him?
what you did?
Yeah, the
Is
song
that
is
what
called
you did?
Scamming, by the way.
No. I see.
Scamming,
I think
yeah.
he's gonna leave all his scamming ways and do Christian rap with Kanye.
I don't think so.
You.
I don't think so. That man is a scammer till he dies.
I do have a question for y'all regarding this album, even though I listened to it because it's a separate topic. So I heard you mention earlier, Locc, that you felt that after the Wale track, Mozzie's flow kind of felt very Wale.
It's
Felt.
like, his flow necessarily didn't feel like Wale.
But he sounded like
his voice. It was like his delivery, like the way he spoke it to the mic. Even on the track, I was like, "This ain't Mozzie. Like, who is this? Like, that's Wale." And then the next track, it was like, "This sounds like Wale." I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. And then AT made the comment that that another artist sounded like Jack Boy. And so I'm starting to think, how much ghostwriting do y'all think is happening nowadays? And are we okay with that? Do we care about that?
Quando Rondo is not ghostwriting. Nobody ghostwriting for Quando Rondo. I don't think so.
But are you positive? Like you can't be positive about anything
there's
anymore.
There's so many shared influences. Willie.
And that's the one thing, dude. Like we talked about this before. You look at rock. You know what I mean? Rock has been around for like 40 years, 40, 50 years as an established genre, whatever you want to call it. There's nothing new under the sun. You know what I mean? Things begin to reevaluate. Things begin to get recycled. People, and like AT said, hip hop is now becoming a more genreless, you know what I mean, type of situation because it's all so blended, you know. And you look at people like Wale, like Drake, like you know, like Cole, even Big Sean. A lot of these folks were the people are rapping now. These young rappers, they were looking up to these folks and they were getting hip. You know what I mean? Even people like Tekka. You look at Tekka's vibe is like a mixture of like the Drake era because he's rapping, but he has so much melody because that's where he was coming up. You know, I think Tekka's like 18. A lot of these guys are like 18, 20, early 20s. And when Cole was coming out, Big Sean, Drake, that was 12 years ago. You know what I mean? They were like kids. You know, that's like me and Wayne. You know what I mean? Like where I was like a real big fan of Wayne because I was around that age when he was dropping real big and dropping like the Hot Boys stuff. You know what I mean? All that stuff in the early 2000s. And I feel like I grew up with Wayne. They feel like they grew up with these people, and I'm sure they took from them the influences. You know what I mean? I'm sure for Mozzie, having Wale on the track it was probably a moment. You know what I mean? It's, you know, I'm sure.
I think Mozzie's a little older as far as like age wise.
Right. I'm not saying Mozzie is like 18, 20, but I'm saying in general. But yeah, I do agree that Mozzie, I think he's a little older, and I don't think it's a ghostwriting situation. I don't think it's like sharing bars, like, you know what I mean, type of thing. I think it's just the influences, man. You know what I mean? I think
to Willie's point, there is a lot of people that are ghostwriting.
They're definitely.
I think that's good because that means it's more people eating.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I see it.
I don't feel like the flow thing or the way he sounded. I think that's just more of a
what he chose at the moment.
Maybe, and maybe he's just maybe Wale's one of his inspirations in terms of rap. You know what I mean? Because maybe that could be it. I know if I was a rapper, I would probably be saying stuff. I'm similar to the rappers that I love. You know what I mean? People like Drake and Cole, I'll probably be saying stuff similar to them or copying their cadence in a sense because I studied them. Almost like you look at Kobe and his fadeaways and stuff and some of his dribble moves, you see it recycled from the greats that were before him, like Michael Jordan and stuff. It's not
he just put his sauce on it.
Yes. You know what I mean? Though, like AT's point, there's a lot of ghostwriting because people, like you said, people got to eat. And you see it a lot, but I don't feel like that's necessarily.
There's definitely people that have influenced whole sounds. Like yesterday, I was really tapped in. Obviously, I bumped that Mozzie album to start my day, kind of thing, and then I kind of progressed as the day got a little bit more, you know what I mean, lit, and the vibe changed. I switched over to like bumping St. John, and I was bumping a lot of St. John. Yeah. He just dropped the new single this week, Gorgeous, fire, and. Obviously, if you know about his story, he was ghostwriting a lot before he started really putting music out.
Yeah. I mean, that's a thing, you know?
And now, I sorry to cut you off, Willie, but let me just get this out. I saw him post on Twitter like this yesterday as well. It was some soundbite. And I had the homies over in the studio. Shout out Johnny C. Shout out Trey Smithers.
Shout out.
And they were over and we were literally like, yo, his engineer is literally shaping the culture and shaping the game, like he needs to be paid more respect. And I literally, when I saw that tweet, heard that, I was like, yo, salute to I literally tweeted at him like, yo, salute to your engineer. He's spazzing every time, because that type of things, these type of artists that are Travis's engineer, these type of people that are shifting the culture and shifting certain sounds. Yeah, they have, and obviously, again, you've written for this many years up to this point. Yeah. There's a reason your music's popping now.
Exactly. Even look at people like Black, Neo, Dream from back in the day.
It's low-key that 10,000 hours thing for real. It's just like you have just written pure, like whether it was trash, whether it was great or whatever, you practiced your shots this much, and like you were good at it now. And then I think it's important to even touch on, like, I even like how AT was like, oh, certain people need respect that's behind the scenes.
Yes.
But do you really think, I understand people need their respect and their credit, but do you think like people who are behind the scenes necessarily want to be as visual as necessarily like the artist? Like we saw a lot of that happen with 40 and Drake, and I don't know if 40 even necessarily wants to be that visual.
Not necessarily, but it's not about them being famous. It's not about them being a star or something. It's about them getting respect. And it's not necessarily, you can't give Drake the respect that 40 deserves. You can't give St. John the respect his engineer deserves. You can't give Kendrick the respect, or anybody from TDE the respect that Mixed by Ali deserves. You know what I mean? Because it's two different ball games, and they're on the back end creating that situation. But I do understand that some of them may be more comfortable in the shadows, and that's sort of how it is when you're behind the scenes. But I do feel like it's not taking anything away from the artist. It's just giving respect where it's due, you know. And I mean, if they don't want it, that's a whole other question.
And obviously, we see a shift in that as well now with like the Mixed by Ali's, the Kenny Beats, those type of people really becoming more forefront people. They are doing all this back end work, but they're in the light now. They're showing you a little bit more of the even like Alex Toomey, who's like Young Thug's engineer. He's been on Twitch recently, and I watched some of his stuff. And I was talking to the homies, and we were both talking about how much gems they just be on there dropping. Literally just showing whole workflows of Pro Tools. Like, that's unheard of.
That's so crazy, man. Pushing the culture forward, bro.
Yeah.
For everyone.
But I also think it's important to note that that's also an avenue for them to cop a bag outside the booth.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's what
we see with the COVID.
We see with COVID, but we also see that that's necessary. Like, they're seeing that they're filling a void. People want to know, like, how do you do this? What is it that you're doing? How can I learn? And when they see that they can add value to a group of people that aren't just the close-knit people that are in the studio with them, then they start to add that value. And I think we talked about this before. When you find out where you add value, that bag will come. There is a bag for you today. And I think that bag will come.
There is a bag for you today.
And I think it's also, I was talking about it a lot this weekend with the homies. Like, I think it's just that switch of approach, that rather than selling these beats or selling these products as we've done in the past in the music industry, it's now like, no, these are whole services you're providing. You're the producer. You're not just a beat maker anymore. You pull up and craft a sound and create whole projects. Look at Metro and Savage. You can't, Metro now has his own publishing with the Illuminati stuff, and you know what I mean? Like, you can't not give these people their respect now. And we're seeing them obviously duly get their credit and getting a little bit more as far as like established business, established financially because of that.
And I think that's really important, because you hit the nail on the head. It's establishing yourself more financially. We forget that a lot of these producers, a lot of people spending all these hours in the studios, they have families, they have kids, they got bills. They have not necessarily a lifestyle that they're trying to maintain, but a lifestyle that they're literally just trying to live. And it wasn't too long ago where they was probably sleeping on somebody's couch, or like they were just saying, yo, I need to be here one more week, bro. Is that cool? And understanding that, like, if you get an opportunity to cop a bag outside the booth, then you are going to take it, not only because you can add value to other people, but also because adding value to other people adds value to your life.
Yes.
That's what, and straight up. And then, like I said, we always talk about ghostwriting and stuff like that when it comes to hip hop, but like, I really, like, am at a point where I'm like, we really should condemn like bad talk about ghostwriting. People like, oh, well, he didn't write those bars. And I'm like, are you mad at the art because it didn't come from that person? Yeah. Like, are you mad because it's a collaborative project? Like,
it's a matter of business, man. You know what I mean? A lot of people look at it, and hip hop is different because it was based on a sense of you telling your truth. So it's different when you look at it in some respects when people are rapping about themselves and they're pushing a lifestyle forward, but somebody else wrote it. It's a little different. It's different when they're singing. All right, singing R&B, that's a whole nother vibe.
So it's just a stigma, really.
It's almost not even a stigma.
Okay.
It's the culture behind hip hop itself necessarily at shifting to a point where it's showing that hip hop is now a pop genre. So there's gonna be a lot more ghostwriters to make sure these songs pop.
And it's and my whole thing is this: if you are a major artist, it is virtually impossible to be like, yeah, I spent all my time writing. Why? You have other things to do.
I wrote this whole album, and and you think about that stuff. It's like, you are a business at that point. Look at Drake. I don't condemn Drake in any way for having for having ghostwriters and stuff like that. Because man was dropping he was doing a lot of different types of music. He was pushing the culture forward in that sense, and I feel like the ghostwriters got their due respect. You know what I mean? It's what it is. But Drake at this point, at the point like Take Care and stuff like that, moving forward from that album, he was a business. He was an international business, and he had to maintain it as such and make sure that he was delivering. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's okay if you have same with Cardi. Cardi became a pop sensation, and she was like, I need to make sure I stay this way. So she had a ghostwriter. And that's okay. It's whatever. But it's also a little weird when you don't know what's being ghostwritten. Sometimes
Beyonce don't reveal her, and you said singing is
different because you're singing about love and in general things. But when you rapping, a lot of times you're talking about my money, what I'm doing on the weekend, what I'm doing with this person. You know what I mean?
But my other thing is this, and I want y'all's opinion. I want both of y'all's opinion on this.
You can always check the credits, I guess. But
you can check the credits. But the other thing is, who's to say that artist is not talking to their ghostwriter about their life?
And that's 100%.
Like you can't effectively ghostwrite for somebody if you don't know jack about them.
That's fair.
Like if I don't know you at all and I'm like, let's get this song popping. Would you write? It's like, no, we need to get vibes going. We need to figure out what's going on. And one thing that I kind of found out, and I'm gonna hop off this in a real quick second because I want y'all's opinion on that. Is that I was talking to my homie with Nashville writers, and they were talking about how they like having like talk sessions, pre-session and post-session, because like you're getting to know that person and you're able to get a feel for like what they like, what they know, what they like to sing about. And it's just like, that's how you affect. That's why that songwriting circle is so great in Nashville with all different types of genres, is because like they sit and they at least talk and figure out like let's get a vibe going, let's get juices flowing here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but I think it's pretty interesting because of the fact that with the ghostwriting thing, like I said, I feel like it's a situation where it's based around the setting. Where is it being put? Because a lot of Drake's music was very personal, conversational rap. You know what I mean? Okay. A lot of people didn't do stuff like that, and it's weird to be like, oh, is that even you talking? And it gets a little weird. You know what I mean?
I think that's why he did singing stuff too, and that's why you go back even as far as
he became a pop rap. He wanted to change the game a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
Now my thing is, I always, if I ever meet Drake, because I met half his family already, I want to meet actual Drake, man,
what?
And be like, yeah, but that's not time for this story. But I always wanted to ask him, like, yo, so like comeback season.
Yeah. That was right when he met 40, right after that.
Like, are those your bars? And even as far back as Southern Smoke, Room for Improvement.
I think that's him.
Are those your bars? And
I think that's him. I personally think that's him. I don't think that he had stuff like that going on until he really got a little bigger and he started having to switch up the brand and started having to maintain the output. You know what I mean? What's up?
I think back to Willie's point, like, I don't think the music business wants to do that because that's a lot of splits, bro. But at the end of the day, whoever's in the room during the creation of me and my homies were talking. If you're if you're in the room next to me and you spark something and I make a beat up, you said, "Yo, AT, what's up, bro? I like you. I like your shit." And I was like, man, that inspired me to make some shit just because he said that.
So you get credits.
You giving this man half?
You look at Kanye, man.
Then my other homie behind me said he kicked my chair and I fell down and it made me hit the beat a little wrong. He gets credits. You know what I mean?
You look
my
at
other
somebody
homie,
like Kanye,
my
man.
other wait. My other homie.
He said, wait.
More examples. More hypothetical examples.
My other homie poured a Guinness on me, and it leaked all over the computer.
Splash. Mama.
And Willie had ad-libs, and everyone's on the track. Give everyone credits, bro.
You see that stuff happen.
Go ahead.
With Kanye, though.
Kanye, yes.
Kanye used to have rooms full of people in there, all building together, building tracks, you know what I mean? Adding stuff, you know what I mean? And he always had very, very diverse groups, so it was always something different. But, like, you can't even accurately credit that, you know what I mean? It could be like, oh, he laid a snare down.
We got some splits for you today.
It's so much.
We can't. You can't credit the vibe. There's no way to accurately credit the
wonder
vibe.
if,
Your part of the vibe is 5%, bro.
Yeah, facts. There you go, bro.
You created 5% of the vibe.
But now,
bro.
once you get 20 people, you then got up
You're
to,
like,
on the
okay,
percentage.
damn, okay.
A lot of people need to be getting half a point.
Had them
Like-
sign a contract when they come in. You are
They
not
ghost
getting
right,
royalties.
bro. They ghostwriting the percentages now.
What? We got some splits.
And Kanye also had a lot of work with the bars with other people as well. A lot of his hooks and stuff like that, working with other people and people in there. And you can see that makes some of the best music. It's a matter of what do you want to sacrifice? You know what I mean? Are you willing to be like, okay, this won't be all me, but it's gonna be better. It's gonna be good music, greater music, or is it gonna be all me? I'm gonna kind of force this vibe and go with missing some information or missing some energy that I could have from another person to help me out, you know?
And I don't
think.
Go
ahead, Willie.
Go. Well, I think it doesn't diminish the artist at all. And I think this is what I meant as far as stigma. I think the stigma in rap, which is, I believe, the art. I don't think rap is a genre. And I feel like we categorize that.
Like hip hop is a genre.
Hip hop is the genre, but then there is a lot of subgenres that we don't talk about. Yeah. And so I think the stigma that is associated with rap, that everything has to be your bars, has been a negative thing that has held the genre of hip hop back until it was more openly acceptable to have a ghostwriting team. And now look at all the different sounds that we're getting now. Look at all the different vibes that we get now. I think we have to not necessarily praise it, but make it more socially acceptable.
So I think there's still a place for those that write their own stuff.
Understandable.
So Kendrick talked about that a lot, talking about how he was surprised to see how the industry was when he finally got into it and found that people were, he said, sharing bars like a two-man cell. You know what I mean? He was talking about all that stuff on the Tip of a Butterfly. But it's a matter of him, like, that's where he stands. You know what I mean? He don't think he does a lot of ghostwriting situation. And I remember Eminem, when he first worked with Eminem, he had the track with Eminem. Back in the day, you know what I mean? And one of M's situations, one of his things he had to have was that he needed Kendrick's entourage to leave. And so that he could be in the studio with Kendrick alone to understand what he was capable of as an artist on his own, if he was writing his own bars.
Yo, and I'm not going to cap. Entourage is a distraction. Like,
that's fair.
Yeah.
But in this case, Eminem wanted to vet the abilities of him as a lyricist, you know what I mean? So there's a matter of like, okay, does Drake get credit for being a superstar? Yes. Does Drake get credit for having these songs? Yes. Does Drake get credit for being an amazing lyricist and being an amazing creative? Maybe the ghostwriting pulls from that. Maybe the ghostwriting pulls that part back a little bit, where it's like, okay, yeah, you are Drake, but you didn't necessarily create all this.
Boom.
You know?
And you hit the nail on the head there. There's a difference between the craft and the product.
Yes.
And that's
yeah. I think that's it.
That's it right there.
I think that's it, because Drake is a brand, and and that's why I'm saying I understand why.
Yeah.
And Kendrick in himself, he prides himself in a different, you know what I mean, and being, you know, rap, you know what I mean, and spitting a lot. So it's like, and spitting his own stuff. So because a lot of times Kendrick has a lot more to say as well. That's why, you know, Nobel Peace Prize were down, because he had a lot to say. He was speaking about specific things.
Understood.
So it's interesting, man. It's interesting to see how it plays out. And I feel like it really depends on the artist, you know. I'm sure Nelly have ghostwriters, you know.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure he did.
I mean, I can't speak, for a fact, but I feel you on that. It just like I said, he was such a big, he was the artist at that point.
He was
in time.
he was the pop artist on the radio and the movies and stuff. You got to maintain that, So,
and I think, and let me be clear, it behooves you to not try and do everything yourself if you have other things to tend to. It is no way that you getting up for a 5 a.m. interview and then going over and doing a 11 o'clock interview, and then you have to go to like 2 different meetings that day, and then you got to hit the studio later that night, and then you got to get up and like fly somewhere else. Now, yo, this is what do you mean? What do you mean?
I wrote this on a plane 30,000 feet in the air.
Like
on the way to the interview.
Well, you're so disconnected. Well, so here's the other thing. My whole thing about like good bars is like it connects people to something, or to whether it's a place, a thing, a mindset. And when you get to a point where you're extremely disconnected from the general public's reality, you have to find a connection through other people there, because they're not living. You're not living that life anymore. You've gotten too big, and I think that's yeah, like you get, or Kanye. Like it's hard. What can Kanye talk about? What can Kanye, like college dropout Kanye? Like people are like, oh, I miss that Kanye. I'm like, that Kanye needs to then go back to Chicago in an apartment.
No more. Kanye do not exist no more. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, he's gone. There's nothing wrong with that.
He's grown. He's been all over the world. He's made millions of dollars. He was helped run Adidas and Nike and got his own label. He's not the same person he was in 2003. And that's okay. You can't expect him to be the same person as he was back then. Exactly. Same with Feast. Look at 50. You look at a lot of these people. Even look at Drake. I feel like you had something to say, and we definitely like cut you off, low key.
I don't remember what it was, so it's all good.
Yeah. It was something about ghostwriting.
It's GhostScripted. This is
GhostScripted. We didn't even talk this stuff today.
Yeah. We didn't even come up with any of this shit by ourselves, bro. So we got somebody behind the scenes.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. We got the GhostScripted.
It's called. His name is Billy W.
Billy W. This guy, man.
Y'all got anything else? Do you got anything else, y'all?
No, I think we should go through and give these last words and let the people live out their lives today.
Yes, happily. Yes. Much love to y'all. Thank you again for tuning in. If you haven't peeped out the show and the spotlight, we had Gongzi OP, One People on the show to discuss his first virtual interview. We were able to get him to detail his journey so far and how he was able to reflect on his life as an artist and personally when trying to grow musically. So it was definitely a dope conversation. You should peep it if you haven't. Remember,
Queens Get the Money Out, or Queens Get the Money 2 out now.
2 out now. Make sure you go peep. Thank you. Much love. Until next week. Chill.
Yeah. My last words are: work on your craft, put out good products, and give great service.
And get paid.
Get the bag.
Life is very unscripted. The Daze is very unscripted, of course, my people. But we must conquer. We must catch a vibe through it all. We must share and talk and discuss with our people. That's what today's episode was about. Yes, so much love out there. Until next time, we'll see you soon.
Indeed.
Peace.
My people, we have made it through another Daze episode, another Daze of life. And if you're not hip to the Daze, you're a little late, but that's fine. We're rolling with a new look. We're adapting with the times. That's the Daze itself. But stay tuned. We got new content on the way, people.
If you happen to miss the past content we did for the past few years, know you late. Go ahead and check all that in the links in the description below. Make sure to check all the info and get up to date as soon as possible.
And make sure that you subscribe, hit that like button, comment down below, and hit that bell notification. And make sure that you follow us on all social media at the Q Brand and at _Daze_.
I'm Locc.
I'm Willie B.
And I'm AT.
Peace.
Cheer.
Daze.